Hi everyone, welcome back to MBA Talks with Career 360. This is Vyakhya here. Today, this video is going to be very important for everyone who is preparing for CAT this year. Today, we have Tushar with us. He has been a CAT topper. He scored a 99.61 percentile in CAT 2022. Right now, he's studying at IIM Indore. Today, he's going to share all about his preparation journey as well as his life at IIM Indore. Hi Tushar, how are you?
Yeah, hi, I'm doing good and thank you for introducing me. So, hi everyone, my name is Tushar and I was born and brought up in Delhi. I did my graduation from Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce, University of Delhi, and my undergraduate stream was computer science honors. So, I scored somewhere around 8.5 CGPA in my undergraduate. And in the final year of undergraduate only, I started to prepare for CAT and I took almost 9 months to prepare for CAT, and I secured 99.61 percentile. So the score breakup for my CAT percentile was somewhere around 98.5 percentile in verbal and 99.61 percentile in DILR and somewhere around 97 percentile in Quants. So that is something about me, and yeah.
Okay. So, like you mentioned, you were a student from science background. Then
Right.
why this shift from science to management career? Why did you choose to pursue MBA?
Yeah, so one thing that motivated me to shift towards MBA background was because once you get your hold on the technical skills, right, then you also need to know that how you need to sell that product. Because you have built the technical product, you need to know the financial aspects of it, the marketing aspect, how would you manage its supply chain. So that was my motivating factor to do an MBA. And apart from that, if you got the, let's say, background in a technical degree, then you need to know about how the managerial aspect of it works. So that was my motivating factor to go for an MBA degree.
Okay. So, you mentioned that you gave around 9 months to your CAT prep. So, in which
Right.
month exactly did you started your CAT prep and how many hours did you devoted to it on a daily basis?
So I gave CAT 2022 and I started somewhere around January of the same year. And initially, I gave around 2 hours a day for my CAT prep. And as the time progressed, I increased my, let's say, the time that I gave to CAT to somewhere about 3 to 4 hours a day. And apart from that, I also started giving mocks in somewhere around June. So the time that required to analyze a mock, that also got added in the preparation schedule.
Okay. So, during your preparation, what was the section that you found difficult in CAT?
All right. So during my preparation, the one section that I was quite comfortable was with quants because as I had the science background, I already studied quants in my 11th and 12th. And also I had a quite familiarity with all the concepts related to that issue. But apart from that, I was very, let's say, I took a large amount of time in solving DLR sets because that was a complete new thing once you start your CAT preparation. So what was my preparation schedule in DLR was that I daily solved somewhere around 3 to 4 full length sets for the same, and it sometimes took me around 2 hours also to solve one or two sets. But that was quite okay because at that time I was in my initial phase of preparation, so I was not that much worried. But as I progressed through the months, the time taken to solve a single set got reduced, and then the familiarity with the concepts also increased. And once you get familiar with all the concepts in DLR, you, let's say, you can see the set and tell what should be done in this set. So that is how I manage the DLR section. And talking about the verbal, so verbal was quite because I was in a habit to read newspaper daily. So verbal was quite obvious to me. So I didn't take much preparation. It did not take much preparation efforts, the verbal part. So I just read a few articles here and there, newspapers, and solved verbal in mocks only. So that was my preparation schedule.
Okay. So you found DILR difficult during your preparation. It is the story for many aspirants who deal with DILR. So, and on the final day, you scored really well in DILR. So
Right.
what were some of the resources that you were using for preparing for each section?
My main preparation sources were the mocks only that I took from IMS. Apart from that, for the preparation part, I referred to YouTube, the Rodha website.
Okay.
There he has given a lot of DLR sets, so that was quite helpful for me. So I used these two resources to prepare for the DLR part.
Okay. Also, DILR has a very comprehensive syllabus. So, are there any important topics that you would like to mention that a student should not miss out?
So for the DLR part, there is no prescribed syllabus as such because each year the CAT has seen that the topic for the DLR set is every time different. So you can't predict which set will come and which topic will come. You just have to consistently practice because if you practice all the concepts, your familiarity with the concepts will increase. So I think there is no such topics, but yeah, there are a few that you need to build your let's say expertise in. For example, Venn diagrams, because they have appeared quite a few times. So topics like Venn diagram and quant based DLR. So these are some topics that you should not miss if you want to give CAT this year or the next year.
Okay. And what about the quant section? Are there
Yeah.
any important
So
topics?
yeah, so quant has a fixed syllabus, so it's more predictable than the DLR part. So quant has arithmetic, algebra, number system, uh, permutation and combination, probability, and yeah, these are the major portion of the quants. So the in these also the main part is arithmetic, algebra, and number system. So if you are comfortable with these three topics, then you can attempt 70% of the quant in CAT very easily. So I should recommend each and everyone who will be giving CAT that first of all build your expertise in these three areas, and then you should go on to areas like permutation and combination and probability because they appear in less probability than these sections, for example, arithmetic, algebra, and number system. So, firstly, focus on these topics and then go on PNC and probability.
Okay. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about mocks. When, like you mentioned, you started giving mocks in June.
Right.
So, how many mocks did you give approximately during a preparation journey?
Yeah. So starting with June, I gave somewhere around 8 mocks a month. So June, July, and August, I gave 8 mocks a month. And starting from September, it increased to somewhere around 12 mocks a month. So in total, I gave somewhere around 50 to 55 mocks. And I also gave a sectional test, for example, DLR sectional that was 40 minutes and verbal sectional. So including all sectionals and mocks, I would have given somewhere around 100 tests before my CAT. So I was quite familiar with the pattern that would be coming, and this helped me to reduce any surprises on the CAT day. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, in your LinkedIn profile, you mentioned a post on specifically on analysis of the mock. So,
Yeah.
could you just tell us more about your analysis process and what should people who are preparing this year follow their analysis process?
All right. So for the analysis part, the analysis of each section should be done separately. First of all, starting with the verbal part. So in the verbal part, first of all, see which questions you have done wrong. And when you see that the questions, for example, there are 10 questions that you have done wrong, attempt them once again without seeing the solution because sometimes it happens that due to the time pressure, you are not able to read the question properly. So after the exam, attempt them once more. If you are able to do them right, it was due to the time pressure. But if you are not able to do them right in the second chance also, see which concepts you were missing on. And when you read the explanation of that question, then it would be fine for the verbal part. Now talking about the DLR. So in the DLR part, when I was giving CAT, there were 4 sets in the DLR section. So usually I was only able to attempt 2 or 2.5 sets. So the sets that I was not able to attempt, I would attempt them once more after the test. And if I was able to do that set correctly, then it was okay. But if I was not able to gauge the concept of that set, after trying for let's say half an hour or 1 hour, I saw the solution for that set, and then I just wrote that somewhere so that it gets in my memory. So this was the procedure to analyze the DLR section. And the same goes with cons, attempt the questions that you were not able to do once more. And similarly, if there is another method that is a shortcut method, see from the solution or the videos for that question. And if all the questions, if you have done all the questions right, then also see if it can be done by any other alternate method that takes less time. So this was the whole analysis process. And apart from that, I also maintained a sheet that noted all my mock scores starting from the first mock to the nth mock that I took. So this gave me a complete record that on which section I was improving and on which section I needed to improve. So this was a constant record that I maintained throughout my CAT preparation phase.
Okay. So, students usually get demotivated when they see a low mock score. What do you have to say to them? Like, how did you kept yourself motivated when you had a low mock score?
Yeah, so there were for example, there were many times that I secured less mock scores. So one thing I noted there was that this is the thing that everyone during their CAT preparation phase must have felt. So that's a constant thing. So why should I be demotivated? It's not that everyone know everything. So it's with the passage of time that you get better at some things. So I just kept my motivation high while I was preparing for CAT. And when I got less mock score, for example, I just diverted my mind from one thing to another. And for that day, I just did not give that much focus. Uh, I would analyze that mock on the next day so that I have a fresh mind and I would learn that concepts better. So this was my go-to strategy at that time. That if you have secured a less mock score on that day, do not give it much focus on that day only. Focus on it on the next day so that you have a better mindset and you can learn it efficiently at that point of time.
Okay. Okay. So, let's move on to your GDPI preparation. How did you started your GDPI preparation and what all resources did you use?
Right. So for the GDPI part, the three aspects that you need to prepare is first, you should know everything about yourself, and second is about your academic background, and third is the place where you belong from. So these were the three major parts that I focused upon. And for the GDPI prep, I just maintained a Word document in which I noted every major part. For example, for if I talk about myself, I noted my hobbies and how where my interest lies. And if I talk about my academic background, I noted the important points of some subjects from computer science. For example, data structure algorithms and computer networks. And also from the place that I belong from, I noted the Lok Sabha seats of that state, the CM, the governor. So this was my main strategy, and I also focused on GK and the static geography and history part. So I referred to YouTube videos. That was a good source to brief me with current happenings of the world. And I also noted something that I felt important. For example, at that time, few issues were the Hindenburg report. So that were the major issues that were going at that time. So I read that report, that what was the main thing and why are they blaming Adani companies for something that they have done. So this was the main preparation schedule that I followed. Is first study about yourself, then your academic background, then the place you belong from, and then GK and static GK. So this is the GDPR schedule.
Okay. Okay. So, when you gave CAT and post CAT, you had your result. What all calls did you get apart from IIM Indore?
Yeah. So apart from IIM Indore, I had calls from IIM Lucknow, IIM Kozhikode, FMS, and all the baby and the new IIMs.
Okay. So, how was the interview experience of all the other IIMs apart from IIM Indore?
All right. So for the IIM Lucknow interview, I think it was good because for the IIM Lucknow part, they didn't ask me any specific questions. They were just conversing with me and they were asking very random questions. So I think that was something that they wanted me to ask questions on, that whether I get stressed from some random topics or not. So I think that was a good interview. Apart from that, if I talk about my IIM Kozhikode interview, So in my IIM code interview, the interview panel was not, let's say, for example, they were not. Uh, I was not able to convince them that why I want to do an MBA at such a young age, because I was a fresher. So I think they wanted someone with more work experience, and I think that it's their choice. So I think that was the main focus of the IIM Code interview. And my IIM Indore interview was very pleasant. So all the questions that they asked, I knew the answers for that. And also in IIM Indore interview, there is a part called extempore, which is you have to speak for a topic that they give you then and there for 1 minute. I think that also went pretty well, and I am Indore interview was like a breeze for me. Apart from that, the FMS interview is very short. For example, let's say 5 minutes only. So in FMS interview also they ask you extempore. So extempore and all was good. And I think that FMS interview also was quite well from my side.
Okay. So you had an extempore session in IIM Indore interview. What was your topic for that session?
Yeah, so the topic was related to artificial intelligence, and since I was from computer science background, I was very well prepared with that topic, and I had knowledge about that. So I was able to speak fluently, and I was able to present my arguments with logic and coherency at that point of time. So I think that due to the familiarity with the topic, I was able to speak on that very fluidly. So I think that was a plus point for me.
Okay. So from all these calls, what were the calls that you finally converted after the interview?
Yeah. So for the converting, I was waitlisted in IIM Lucknow, and I converted IIM Indore in the first list. And for the IIM Kozhikode thing, also I think that I converted in the last. But after that, I have already taken admission in IIM Indore, so I think that I should go with IIM Indore only. So that was the main point.
So why did you choose IIM Indore when you had a wait list in other good B schools?
So I think that because I was from Delhi, IIM Indore was also very, let's say, close. If I talk about in relation to IIM Kozhikode, was close to my let's say place. So that was a plus point in the favor of IIM Indore. And I thought that IIM Kozhikode and IIM Indore are at par with each other, right? So it did not matter in which B school I take the admission. So I chose IIM Indore because I received admission from it prior to then from IIM Kozhikode.
Okay. So right now GDPI season is going on. A lot of students must have got calls from good colleges. According to you, what are some of the factors that one should consider while choosing a B school from for themselves?
Talking about the factors, so first of all, there are tiers of different B schools. So the first tier is IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. So if you receive let's say call from that institute, or if you convert IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, or Calcutta, so you should definitely take one of those. And now talking about the second tier, it's IIM Lucknow, Auxiliary FMS. And if you convert either of these three, then you should, according to your priority level, you should select one college. And the third tier is IIM Kozhikode, IIM Indore, and SPJMR. So in these three also, you should think about what is your preferred stream, which place you want to live in. And if you choose either of these three college, it won't matter much. So these are the three tiers according to which you have to base your selection. And if I talk about other colleges, so the next year would be MDI, NMIMS, IIFT. And apart from that, after that comes new IIMs and baby IIMs. So this should be your priority order while selecting a college, according to me.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So, let's talk about your life at IIM Indore. How is life at IIM Indore? How is the campus life right now?
So the life at IIM Indore, I would say, is like a roller coaster. So you do not have much free time because the classes usually start from 9 a.m. and we have classes generally till 1:15, or sometimes we also have classes in evening from 5 to 7. So I think that the schedule is very tight. And apart from that, there are also assignments and extracurricular activities that you have to take part in. But once you get into that environment, that doesn't seems too hectic because each and every people around you is doing the same thing. So I think that is the environment that shapes your personality, because you would also be interacting with people that would be helping you. So you do not have to fight that battle on your own. There would be people to support you, and I think that's the main advantage of going into a top B school, that you learn how to collaborate, you learn how to survive in such a hectic environment. But sometimes you also have to see that which thing you need to prioritize. So for each and every people, there are different priorities. Someone wants to get into, let's say, the institute ranking list. Someone wants to do case competitions, and someone wants to do extra certifications like CFA. So you have to decide what things you need to do and what things would benefit you in the long run. I think MBA is all about setting your priorities right. And if you learn to prioritize the things that you want to do in life, I think that you will sail through rest of your life.
Oh, okay. So, like you mentioned, you have to set your priorities. So, how do you think networking comes in when for an MBA student? How important do you think it is in MBA life?
So, if I talk about networking, it's very obvious that, for example, if you need help with something, you would be approaching to someone who could help you with that thing. For example, if you need a help with a case competition, you would obviously approach a senior who has given that case competition. So, I think that networking is very contingent to your experience in MBA, because the networking goes hand in hand with your daily life in MBA. You do not have to do something extra to do networking with people. And I think that it's very part of the MBA. And you do not have to go extra mile to converse with people, because they belong to the same family, that is your institute. So I think that it's very obvious to network with people, and you should not worry about that I have an introvert nature and I would not be able to do networking. It's very obvious when you go there that you interact with people of different nature, you interact with people with different background, and once you do such things, you build a network of people that will stay with your lifetime, I think.
Okay. So, are you guys done with your summer placement season for this session?
Yeah, we are done with that.
So, how was the summer placement experience for you? What all companies did come on campus?
If I talk about my experience, I think that it was rewarding because you experience with lot of emotions, and I think that it is very hectic 2 months of your life.
Okay, so like you mentioned about your transition from science background to MBA, most of the students who give CAT are actually from either engineering background or from commerce background. So, how do you think a person who is from an unconventional background like science or arts convinces the interviewer that you know he or she is suited for MBA?
Right. So, since there are majority of engineers in B schools, so most of the MBA colleges have started taking people from diverse backgrounds like psychology, arts, and literature, because they provide diverse experiences while interacting in the class. And there should be different people who motivate you think in different angles. So this is major point that B schools have started accepting people from diverse background. And if I talk about my own background, I think that it's very similar to that of an engineering person, because I have done my graduation in computer science. So it's just that it's a 3 year degrees in comparison to engineering. That's a 4 year degree. So I think that it was not very difficult for me to convince the interviewers. I think that it's just how you interact with them and how you present your story that matters more than what your background is.
Okay. So, how much do you think important is profile building for admissions and for further life at MBA and B school?
Profile building is a very much overhyped topic, because profile is only how much you scored in your 10th standard, how much you scored in your 12th standard, how much you scored in your undergraduation, and what is your work experience. So these three, four things cumulatively build your profile. So let's say if you have done numerous certifications and you have done numerous courses, but your academic performance in 10th and 12th and undergraduation is very low, then I think that you could not make up by doing these certifications. Because while the IIMs give calls to people, they only look at your academic background for giving the calls out. So I think that it's more beneficial if you are currently in your college, that you should focus upon building your CGPA, because that would matter more than doing courses from Coursera. Because doing courses is very, let's say, obvious at this time, because each and every person has some or the other courses in their CV. So I should advise people who want to do MBA that focus upon your academic performance at this point of life, because once you get out of college, that's the one thing you can't improve. So you can do courses, you can do certifications once you are done with your undergraduation, but your CGPA is something that you can't change. So I think that you should build that first, so that your records are clear once you decide to do an MBA. And since you can't change it after you are done with undergraduation, I think you should focus on that first.
Okay. So your journey has been really inspiring for many students. How would you describe your journey from preparation to now making it to IIM Indore?
So, if I talk about my journey, I think that it's not it would not be a straight line. Rather, it would be a tortuous path, because I think that if you want to go to some place, or you want to achieve something, there are a lot of ups and downs that you face from going from one place to another. So that's how I would describe my journey. That it has not been a straight line, but rather a curved path. Because you experience things, you lose on something, you gain something, and that's how you go from one place to another. And that has been a similar experience for me as well.
Okay, that is so great to know. So, this was a really great session. I'm sure a lot of students will get help from the insights that you shared. Thank you so much for joining us today. Career 360 would love to have you again on board.
Thank you. It was lovely to interact with Career 360. And I wish that each and every person who wants to give CAT, or is appearing for MBA exams, or is taking admission in MBA colleges this year, achieve success in their life.